Right now, somewhere within 10 miles of you, a brand new pickup is quietly rotting on a dealer lot. It has not moved in 4 months. The dealer is bleeding floor plan interest on it every single day, and the manufacturer already knows that truck is finished. They just have not told you yet. 10 trucks are officially dying or already in the ground. 2 more are losing pieces so important they earn a spot on this list too. If you are truck shopping in 2026, this is not optional viewing. The Nissan Titan, already gone. The Titan did not slip away peacefully. It was put down. Nissan switched off the line at the Canton plant in Mississippi in the summer of 2024. No fanfare, no farewell edition, no goodbye tour. They just killed the lights and walked out. If you spot a Titan on a lot today, you are looking at stale inventory. A truck parked there for more than a year. Some units average north of 280 days before anyone bites. You could have launched a small business, watched it fail, and filed the closing paperwork in the time that Titan has waited for a buyer who is never coming. No successor announced. No electric replacement, no plan B. After 20 years of swinging at the big three and missing, Nissan abandoned the full-size segment completely. How does a company spend 2 decades losing at one product and just keep building it? Sit with that question because the rest of this list answers it in different ways. The Nissan Frontier, same parent company, different badge, same quiet problem. The Frontier is technically still in production, but the sales curve does not belong to a truck with a future. The Tacoma sold more than 270,000 units in 2025. The Frontier scraped together about 65,000. That gap, north of 200,000 trucks, is what decides whether a model earns engineering money or gets quietly erased. Nissan has not committed to a next-generation Frontier. Not a date, not a platform reveal, nothing. When a manufacturer refuses to tell you what comes next, that silence is the answer. The silence is the press release. The Ram Dakota. This one is a ghost story, and Ram keeps telling it on purpose. The Dakota died in 2011. Every couple of years, a trademark filing leaks or somebody spots a prototype and the internet briefly loses its mind. Ram says nothing. Nothing happens. Here is the math they keep dodging. Walking into the midsize segment today means building a fresh platform from scratch, retooling factories, and burning billions to fight Toyota and Ford where customer loyalty borders on religious. The Dakota is not coming back in any form that matters. It is a name Ram keeps breathing just enough to distract you from harder questions about the lineup they actually sell. A name with no truck attached to it is just marketing. The Chevy Colorado, first generation. The old Colorado is officially done. General Motors replaced it with a completely redesigned truck for 2023. But here is the detail that tells you how that new generation really landed. As recently as 2025, some dealers were still sitting on brand new 2022 Colorados with 0 miles, listed at full sticker, not discounted, full price, on a 3-year-old truck, while the current model sat right beside it. When a buyer can grab the new one and the dealer still cannot move the old one even at sticker, the old truck was never the priority. It was a placeholder while GM figured out what it actually wanted to build. The GMC Canyon. Same bones, worse math. Take everything I just said about the Colorado and stack another $4,000 to $6,000 on top. That is what the badge cost you over the Colorado, for the identical platform, engines, and interior. The premium was the logo. You discover that right about the time you check your resale value 2 years in. The new Canyon is a genuinely better truck, but the old one is the cleanest case of badge inflation I have seen in this segment. People paid extra for a nameplate, and the depreciation hit them like a wall. The Honda Ridgeline. I will be honest here, and a few of you will not enjoy it. The Ridgeline is on paper a good vehicle, reliable, comfortable, and it drives better than any body-on-frame truck out there. It had a lockable trunk built into the bed before anybody thought that was clever. If you need to haul some lumber to a cabin once a year, it does the job. But its tow rating sits around 5,000 pounds. That is not a truck number. That is a number you make excuses excuses for at a job site. So why does almost nobody buy one if it is that capable? Because this market does not reward good. It rewards specific, and the Ridgeline specific is a niche getting crushed from both sides. Squeezed by real trucks that now ride just as nicely, and by big SUVs that carry more people. In 2025, the Ridgeline moved somewhere around 36,000 units. The F-Series cleared more than 700,000 in the same stretch. That is not competition. That is a rounding error. The Jeep Gladiator. This one genuinely caught me off guard. The launch was electric. Back in 2019, dealers were tacking $10,000 to $15,000 over sticker onto Gladiators, and people lined up to pay it. Waiting lists. Real hype, the kind you cannot fake. Now fast forward to 2025. The average Gladiator sat on lots for 161 days. The markups vanished. The incentives showed up instead. Big ones. The magic burned off. And once the novelty fades, the buyer starts running the real numbers. A short bed truck with off-road bragging rights and a sticker brushing $60,000 in the upper trims. In a world where a full-size truck hands you more of everything for the same money. Stellantis never officially killed the Gladiator, but they quietly throttled production back. The resale curve already told you what the market had decided. This thing depreciated faster than any of its direct rivals after year 2. It was a brilliant idea in 2019. By 2026, it is a brilliant idea that ran out of things to say. The Ram Classic. Ram pulled an unusual move with this one. They kept selling the old body Ram right alongside the new generation for years, called it the Classic, and used it as a price anchor while the new trucks pushed past 40,000, 50,000, 60,000. It was a clever trick for a while, but the Classic is fully gone now. No ceremony. And nobody mourned it, because the Classic was old bones wearing a fleet sale costume. Buyers who needed cheap went used. Buyers who wanted the real thing went to the new generation. It did its job and slipped out the side door, which is more than most trucks on this list managed. The Ford Ranger. The truck Ford ate alive with another Ford. Ford built a pickup that competes head-on with one of its own, and the cheaper one is winning. The Maverick arrived in 2022 with a hybrid starting under $25,000, and it sold out on contact. 6 to 8 month wait times. People were losing their minds over it. The Ranger opens around $35,000. It is too pricey to be the cheap option, and too small to be the big one. Ford's own data showed Maverick buyers were people who would otherwise have bought a Ranger. Ford ate its own market share and handed it right back to itself at a thinner margin. The Ranger is not discontinued, but specific trim and cab combinations are being quietly trimmed out of existence. When your own lineup eats itself, something gets cut, and it is never the cheaper truck. The Toyota Tundra, the forced bet. The Tundra is not dying, but Toyota made a choice for buyers who were never asked. It walked away from the V8 entirely and staked the whole truck on a twin-turbo V6 hybrid powertrain. That is a bold gamble in a segment that has always hated being told what it should want. The Tundra moved roughly 108,000 units in 2025, below its own historical average, and the hybrid system arrived with documented first-generation gremlins, cooling trouble and software glitches in the regenerative braking. Toyota loyalists bought it anyway, but the conquest buyers, the ones jumping ship from Ford or Ram, did not show up the way Toyota was counting on. The Tundra has a great reputation. What it is dragging is a powertrain that still has to earn one. Until that gap closes, Toyota is fighting for buyers with one hand tied behind its back. Now, the two trucks that are not dying, but are losing pieces that matter. The F-150 and the Silverado are not going anywhere, but something inside each of them is disappearing, and if you are shopping right now, you need to know before you sign. The F-150 V8. For 2026, Ford pulled the 5.0 out of the King Ranch and Platinum trims, two of the highest volume luxury builds in the lineup. The V8 is still on the menu for XL, STX, XLT, Lariat, and Trimmer. But if you have watched this segment for a decade, you know exactly how this script goes. First, the premium trims lose the option. Then it slides out of the mid trims. Then one model year, it is simply gone. The EcoBoost V6 family and the PowerBoost Hybrid are swallowing the lineup one trim at a time, and Ford is not hiding the direction. The 5.0 and the F150 has maybe 2 model years left before it becomes something you read about on a forum. The Silverado work truck. GM has been quietly deleting the entry-level Silverado trims. The base work truck has been stripped down so far that the fleet buyers who relied on it are shopping somewhere else. GM is chasing margin, not volume, pouring everything into the high country. The Zero 2, the trims that actually move profit per unit. If you are a contractor who just needs a simple, capable, no-nonsense truck at a fair price, the Silverado lineup no longer has anything for you. That contractor is buying used or buying foreign. GM made a call that looks great on a quarterly earnings call and feels very different when you are the buyer left standing outside. The pattern repeats every single time. The middle collapses first. Trucks too small to really haul, too expensive to be the budget pick, too similar to justify existing against whatever already dominates. They are always first to go. The survivors are the ones that can answer one clean question. Why you and not the F150? Nissan never had a real answer. Honda answered it wrong. Jeep nailed it brilliantly for 3 years and then ran out of things to say. The truck market is not dying. It is being sorted. And the list actually worth buying gets a little shorter every model year. So tell me in the comments, which truck on this list did you own, almost buy, or watch somebody else regret? And which one do you think I have completely wrong?